Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to Ethernal Realms. Let's get into your February reading. We will see what the major theme of this month for you is, and then we break it down into the top 3 highlights, and then we get into your oracles and also your tarot. So we have the full moon here with completion. So the full moon of this month can be quite significant for you. It's taking place in the zodiac of Leo and on the 5th of February. So there can be something completing here in terms of your personal journey. For you, if we go by the rising sign, Leo, it would be in your 12th house, and that can indicate a personal chapter closing. So you might be graduating from some place, or it's more of an internal private thing where you're letting go of a previous pattern, or a level of maturity is kind of coming to a close. So for example, crossing over from your teen years to your 20s, or from 25 on. So that's like from 20 to 25 is a different type of lifestyle compared to 25 to 30, for example. So there can be some threshold that you're crossing quite literally, in terms of your age or in terms of your mentality here. You feel completely different. It's as though your emotions will be extra clear to you as well. So anything that is hidden away from you, whether it is your own influences or someone else's, that is also going to come up to the surface for assessment or completion. All right. Then we have the shark coming up, which indicates take care or there will be a loss of material wealth. Yes, 12th house does contain insecurities and losses as well. So sometimes we're just afraid to lose something. So afraid to lose confidence, afraid to lose creativity, afraid to, see any harm come to our passion projects or our love life or our children. Okay, something related to that can come up as well, where we're insecure about something or we are afraid of something. But 12th house basically is kind of absent. Okay, and I keep mentioning the 12th house because not only because Leo is there for you if we go by the rising, but also we have a new moon taking place in Pisces, and Pisces is the zodiac that is usually placed in the 12th house. So Pisces is taking into account the things that need to go, things that need to be sacrificed and surrendered, attachments that need to be going away, things like that. So if we don't watch out, the 12th house can just vanish things almost. Not literally, it's not really literally magical, but it just somehow goes away. Like you're not expecting a bill to come by and it's like non-negotiable, like some bill that was just not in your mind or was not made explicitly clear before, or is something that is assumed to be normal, but you did not know about that, therefore you were not prepared for it. So in that case there can be a loss about that. But it's kind of like, you can still do certain things for that. For example, save up enough if you have the time for it, or it can be that you have a good communication and you try to negotiate something if it is uncomfortable for you. But on another level, it can just mean that you are indulging a lot as well in the 12th house. Anything that happens kind of goes to one or the other extremes. It can kind of get lost in either side of the spectrum. Okay, so you might be spending a lot more on self-pampering, wanting to kind of be by yourself or care for yourself, care for your indulgences and so on and so forth. So it can go a little bit overboard. So that's a warning. Then we have the younger man, which says dealings or relationship with a younger man. It can be a sibling of sorts, but it can also talk about in terms of maturity. So it can be of the same age group, but it's as though you are taking on more of the mature role, or you're taking more responsibility, accountability, obligations, things like that. And you might be caring for someone else. You might be working with someone else, mentoring someone else, things like that can come up here. Or it can be that this person is younger than you quite literally, but shows a level of maturity or is in an equal or higher position somehow. Okay, that's also something I'm getting. It depends on your surroundings, what your situation is, of course, so take it as it resonates. Then we have the claw, which says be careful, do not take risks. Okay. It's better to be warned, right? So there can be attempts of like fraud. I'm not saying all of you will fall for it, okay? But there can be like someone saying, oh, you need to send this much money, and you're like, what? I was not aware that I need to, pay for the garbage pickup, for example. Let's take that as an example, right? I did not know that was a bill that I have to pay, and why is it this high? Things like that. There can be back and forth. So kind of run it past, kind of recheck before sending a big amount of money, or making a promise or a commitment of any sort, because material wealth can also indicate things regarding stability. So let's say you want to move to another place and someone just is like, okay, yes, the house is ready and everything, so you can come by, you can just ditch the place that you're living right now and it's ready to move in, basically. So kind of confirm again with the agency or with the owner or anything of that sort. Like look for multiple confirmation before confirming something or promising something to anybody. Okay, so it's, even if you're still making changes, let it not be drastic, or be very well prepared for whatever is taking place in this month for you. Okay, all right, then we have, what's your honest truth? Oh, this question would come up a lot when we talk about the 12th house, and also when we have a full moon, because full moons want clarity. They are looking for clarity, they're providing clarity, they just bring to the surface all the emotions or the thoughts, the patterns and so on that have been hidden underneath the surface that we try to suppress and kind of put it aside. That does not work when we have a full moon, okay, for any month in fact, but in the 12th house, it already is a watery transcendental house, so it has a little bit more impact. Your dream life can be quite active as well. Some of you might have trouble sleeping. If that's something you already struggle with, that can be coming up here once more. But this is kind of representative that there's something that needs to be processed, not in sleep but in waking. So if you find yourself naturally just getting up earlier or not needing too much sleep, or again, right on the other extreme, that you need a lot of sleep, there is like a purpose to that, and there's something more to discover in there, whether that is a subconscious processing that is automatically happening, or it's something that needs to be done through introspection, meditation, and asking yourself the bigger or important questions. Okay, then we have cozy up with risk, which is so contradictory to what we saw here. So that again is confirming for me that you're still taking action, or like you can make changes for sure. None of this says that you are going to be just choosing to be stagnant. You can if you want, if you need the rest, for sure. But if you are changing something, just confirm a couple of times before making large promises. It's about calculated risks. Cozy up with risk does not mean that we just throw everything away and jump into another space, right? Also quite unpractical, so. All right, speaking of sleep and dream and all of that, we have the Four of Swords. So again, there is some healing going on here in the mental and emotional state. It could be that you're just generally tired. In the 12th house, when we have the full moon, is where it can feel just quite draining, because the body and the mind is really amped up as a baseline, and it might have a bit of trouble relaxing itself. So maybe meditation, self-hypnosis, chamomile tea, things like that, which are calming and soothing for yourself. That's a very good idea throughout the month. And this also indicates that you are prioritizing your inner world and your private life, your personal space a lot more. So you can be kind of finding yourself being a little less social. You want to be by yourself. You want to understand. You kind of want to take a break from everyday life. Lucky for you, February is not that dynamic in terms of the astrology, In January, we had 3 planets turn direct, so that was quite active towards the later part of Jan. And in February, we are just kind of getting accustomed to this year, making new promises, or, identifying different things that we first need to work on before going to our, New Year's resolution, let's say. And it's also kind of a pause period, or like take stock of your energy and resources, because in March there's going to be a lot of changes. Okay, this is just the astro, but that's what it makes me remember here with the Four of Swords. It's sort of like rest up before the action begins. Okay, take this time to pause, reflect, and understand yourself. You are much better equipped to keep moving forward throughout the rest of the year if you take advantage of February. Then we have the Hermit, which is your card, actually. It corresponds to Virgo. So yes, there can be a lot of self-discovery, meditation, introspection that is going on here. Once again, emphasizes the private space and the personal matters and so on. So you can be thinking about family, your priorities, and where do you want to pursue now? What do you want to do? How does your life look like? Where do you fit in society? Like, are you contributing to society? Do you want to do that? Or is it more about the family and home life for you? It's different for everybody, right? And there can be some self-developmental questions as well, like, am I being my best self right now? If not, what needs to change? How can I be more of my best self, basically, right? And these questions you're asking more to yourself. And it's not that the outside world is not there for you. They're definitely there, but you don't need that right now in this particular month. It's as though you need more answers from yourself, because it's about you and your life, right? Then we have the Six of Swords, which can indicate a movement, a journey, quite literally, but it can also be a mental journey too. So mental recovery, more clarity, leaving behind past baggage, and just taking what is necessary, i.e. the lessons from the past into the future. And yeah, it really feels like a journey of healing and recovery, honestly. So if you've been feeling tired, this is an excellent month to kind of, rest more and care for yourself. I'm also hearing like short trips, so you can go to the countryside to recuperate and relax or meditate. That's also a possibility. All right, then we have the Hanged Man. All of these cards are quite introverted, honestly, so I'm not going to say that this is a very social month for you, okay? But this is definitely like extremely profound. It does not seem like a lot of activity on the external world, but on the inside, there's like a whole spectrum of, things going on here. There's so many questions that are coming up, so much realizations happening. Also with the Hanged Man, you're looking at things from a completely different perspective. And it's a state of intentional pause. Especially for you, I feel that. Okay? It's a pause to reflect. It's a deliberate pause. Like, it's kind of midway from the Fool to the World in the Major Arcana, sort of. And it's sort of an important checkpoint to be like, okay, I've completed this, this, and this. I've done so and so and so. So how do I move from here? Like, let's say you recognize your priorities. Now what? What do you do about that? And you, as a very practical sign, you are very curious about how we go from here. It's also giving me the Pisces vibe, and we have Sun in Pisces moving on the 18th. So that's when Pisces season begins. And we're talking about the surrender, letting go, losing of control, and so on. Not in a bad way, but just like no resistance anymore, right? It's that sort of thing. I'm also getting lost in thought. Yeah, all right. Then we have the Four of Pentacles, which is, I love that this card came up, honestly. I was like, where are the finances? What do I say about the finances? Because we talked so much about the material wealth over there. So Four of Pentacles talks about taking stock, quite literally, of your money, of your safety, of your mindset, and your energy, your time. And it's like, you don't want to keep talking to everybody every month. There are times when we're like really social, and other times we're like, okay, I need to just be with my inner circle a little bit, talk to my closest people, and so on. So this is kind of that type of month here. You're careful about where you spend your money. So I'm thankful that came up here for you guys. So it does not seem like you are far off from what the advice is telling you to do here. Four of Pentacles naturally does not take any risks, and if it does, then it's about investing in the future, right? So investments naturally have to be a calculated risk, yeah? So yes, really nice. Good month for like saving up, investing in something that is good for your future. Also in terms of habits and routines, lifestyle, and so on. So you can be like, I don't need this much sleep. Maybe I can shift around my schedule a little bit. If you were generally a night person, you might become a day person, and vice versa. There can be some things you're trying out here, but it's more in your personal and private space. You can be working on the bedroom as well, like cozying up the place that you sleep in, or making it more comfortable, more inviting, or more rejuvenating when you get up. That's also one specific thing. All right, and we have 2 4s here, so it indicates that you're coming to stability throughout the month, or you're working on stability quite intentionally and purposefully here. Next we have the void, which indicates a lot of potential. Okay, from void, everything happened basically. At some point there was nothing, and then there was everything. That's kind of the philosophy, right? So void, there's not much to say because there's something to feel and something to understand while you're in that space, right? So the hermit is kind of that silence, that nothingness where you're finally able to observe. When we first start meditating, there's like so many thoughts, okay? All of a sudden it just rushes. I feel like, why that happens? Because we don't normally meditate, or we don't normally collect our thoughts. And also there's just so much that happens every day, whether we realize it or not consciously in that moment. When we meditate, it's like, oh, did you do the laundry? Did you do that? Did you talk to this person? Did you reply? All of these things kind of come up. Like, why am I even thinking about this? I did not even know I would think about these things. But as you keep practicing, at some point you just stop. Okay, for some people it happens in 5 minutes, for some in 30 minutes. For some it takes a couple of days. Doesn't matter. At some point there is this eventual point with practice that there is a moment of silence where we've thought our thoughts and we're just sitting there, or we're just being in that moment. We don't want to think. We just want to feel the breath, the body, the movement, and so on. Void is that complete state of observance. And then any feeling that comes up, any thought that comes up, it's so easy to process because there's nothing that is conflicting, contradicting, or there is no rush and impatience in that state, basically. So that exact state is what I'm feeling for you guys here. Okay? Either you're wanting to reach this state, or you have and you're practicing it in this month more prominently. And we have the spectrum. Wow. Okay, so this is that self-discovery. There are many new facets of yourself that you are seeing. And again, on the external, it might seem like there's not so much going on, but on the inside, it's like a whole bunch of questions and recognitions and talents kind of surfacing here. The hangman feels as though when it was not hanging, it was like going forward, kind of doing things, trying to find balance in the external world and other people's opinions, and kind of finding truth and compassion, etc., etc. But when it turns upside down, it's like, okay, I want to find my gifts. I want to find balance within. I want to find my answer and bring that back to the surface. Because pause is not a constant over here, right? The only constant is change. So this is not a permanent state that you want to be entering, or that you are even thinking of entering, right? There is a very important purpose in turning upside down or turning inward. That's to discover more of yourself. And you totally are doing that. This is so empowering. It's not even funny. Wow. Okay. So, something else we can know about Virgos in the month of Feb. What else can you know, please? Moon Leo in the 7th house. Oh yeah. If we go by the rising sign, Pisces is right in your 7th house. Nice that the astro dice reminded me. With the 7th house, we talk about relationships, partnerships, and one-on-one connections most importantly. Okay, so it's not all of our friends, it's not all of the friend group, or all of the people we have known. It's more like your partner, like your business partner, like your teammate that you, like one other person that you connect with, or your best friend, things like that. So topics around relationship, how much effort you want to put into those things, and how much time you need for yourself, or how you balance the dynamic between you and your partners can be coming up here. There is some sort of adjustment. You're a mutable sign, so is Pisces. So there is some flexibility, greater harmony that is trying to flow here. But that does not mean that both of you are always compromising and both of you are kind of agreeing with each other. Because Leo here indicates that how you can find better harmony is through more fixedness, or more confidence, or self-assurance and stability in your individual lives. So I feel like you are working on your self-confidence and kind of working on letting go of certain attachments that are not useful, so that you can make more space for things that are genuinely important to you right now. Four of Pentacles also talks about the priorities here. Leo wants to be very focused on one thing, and that's the subject or the object of its passion and its affinity. When we have the moon here, again, it brings into focus the desires that we have, about partnerships, about relationships. Like, what type of relationship do you want? What type of people do you want to be closely associated with? Who is your go-to person? Are you satisfied with that? Like, is there something that you do not yet know because you've not asked yourself? Okay. Self-image as well, I feel, is changing, and that can have an impact on your partnership and the relationships you form. All right, but that is kind of natural since we're going through so much internal work here. But you're definitely shining. We have 2 beacons of hope, and everything is coming from you inside out. So I feel you're in general more noticeable to other people, but you're choosing to turn inward and kind of concentrate that within you. So what's your honest truth with all of this? Is just wanting to bring out clarity. There can also be questions of, how do I want to present myself to other people? What's my community? So once again, going back to the graduation example, you finished your college and now it's like, what exact job do you want to do? Do you want to be teaching that, or do you want to be working on field? What exactly are you showing up as? That can be a question for you as well. So that's what I have for you, Virgos. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. Let me know your thoughts. And if you want a personal reading, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box in the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.